All right, folks. So this is probably the first place you should start if you're new to programming, and this is going to cover a couple different things. First is I'm in BlueJ, and this is the IDE. This is the software I'm using. There's plenty of other software out there you can use. You can use Eclipse. You can use some online compilers, although they're not quite as good. Or you can use the command line, which I definitely don't recommend. So the notion of Java is that you create a project. And a project, think of a project as like a folder, and it's going to have your main file, but all your other supporting files. So if you had 2 or 3 other files that the application needs to run, they would all be in this project or this folder. And presumably if you got into like graphics and other assets like videos, you would put them all in the project file as well. So I'm going to do new project. And the first time you have to decide where you want them. So I'm going to create a folder called Dave's Java. All right, and this is where I'm going to put my project. So this is what it looks like. And you're going to need a new class. So every project needs, you can have multiple classes, but everyone needs at least a main class. So I'm going to say this is a class. Now I know that in the reading, if you've gotten the reading past the first or second week, as you're talking about abstract classes, interfaces, and all that garbage, we're not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to worry about this class, and it's going to be called Hello World. Now, the typical convention is that in a class, the uppercase letter is capitalized. Not always the case for variables, but in a class, you definitely want that. You also can't put a space in there, or you shouldn't put a space in there. This is called camelback handwriting, or camelback writing, rather, when you have capital letters for each word, and then you just kind of glue the words together. All right, so this is Hello World, and let's go into here. Now, this is going to look daunting, and it's going to look really, really, really confusing. So I'm going to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff that we plain old just don't need. All right, this will become commonplace for you. You'll just delete things you don't need. Okay, so we're starting kind of with a blank canvas, and you can put your name in here, Dave Gadoo, and you can do a version number, date. I'm not going to worry about that. So these are comments. If you see a whack and stars, those are special comments. In the reading, it also said you can do 2 whacks, and you can say this is a comment, and so nothing on that line will get compiled. Or you can do 1 whack and a star, and this is called a comment block. So everything in here is commented out. And that just means the computer doesn't look at them, so you can put whatever you want. Sometimes it's credits like, oh, I'm Dave Gadoo. Sometimes, more importantly, it's instructions on how the software works. So I'm going to get rid of all those comments, and I'll show you examples of when you need those comments later on. So the first thing you need to know for a program, and again, I know this is confusing, and I know it's overwhelming, and I know there's really no context, and you're going to see this, and you're going to wonder, well, why do I need to have this public class and this public class main? And my response to you is, don't worry about it now. You don't need to know what public class hello world means. You don't need to know what public static void main string args. You don't need to know what that means. All you need to know is that for a piece of software to work, it needs to have 2 of these. And I call these kind of like sandwiches. So that's kind of the top bun and the bottom bun. This is kind of like a double-double, because now you have a top bun and a bottom bun there. So you need to have the class, which in this case called Hello World. Don't worry about what the word class means. Doesn't matter. And this is called an access modifier. It's not important for you to understand what that means quite yet either. But for any class, so in this case Hello World, you can have as many methods as you want. So I could have another method called public void Dave. You can have as many of these kind of like code blocks, and you can see that in the screen they're yellow, but you can have as many of these code sandwiches as you want. You need to have at least 1 for right now, and you need at least the first method, and it could be if you have 2, 3, 4, 5 methods. You need to have this public static void main. This is basically like the gas pedal on your car. If you design a car without public static void main, you ain't going anywhere. So you need to have public static void main, and so this is really the most rudimentary code that you can have. You need to have all of this. If you don't have this, you don't have a program. So you need to have the class declaration, which is the top hamburger bun, and then you need to have public static void main, which is the second hamburger bun. Other than that, you don't need more classes, or I'm sorry, more functions and methods, although you can have them, and we will later on. But this is the bare bones minimum. You actually don't even need these comments. It's just a really good idea to put the comments in there. So this is the minimum code that you need to run any program in Java. Once you get over that, and I don't care if you copy that and then paste it in a text file and just repaste it each time, that's fine. This is where all the magic happens inside public static void main string args. And again, don't worry about what that means. It took me like 8 years to figure it out. So there's a few things you can do. You can output to the screen, and it would be nice if you just put output hello world. But Java doesn't understand output. So you have to do something like system.out.print. That is a line of code, and system.out.print means on the screen it's going to print out whatever you put in not only parentheses but also quotation marks. You'll get used to that real fast. If I were to compile this, and that's what this does, if I were to compile it, then it would kind of crunch all of this code down into ones and zeros. It's actually called Java bytecode, and then I can run it. All right, so once I have all this code, I really want to run this system.out.print hello world. And to run it, I'm going to minimize this, go to hello world, right click, and there's a couple different ways to do this. There's probably keyboard commands, and again, it depends on your software package. But I'm going to say I want to run void main string args, because remember, that is the method. That's the go method. So I want to run main. So I'm going to right click, go to that. Don't worry about any of this. Just hit there. Boom. There it is. Hello world. That's your first. That's my first program. In fact, the Hello World program, for all you history nerds out there, was actually the reason we do this as an exercise today, is because like 100 years ago or 50 years ago, whenever the first computer was, psych, just kidding, it was in the 50s. The first program they did was Hello World, and would output this. So I want to get back into Hello World, and I can output something a little bit better than Hello World. How about, hi there, Dave? All right, and so then I'm going to compile that, and then I'm going to run main. Okay. Now it says hello world, hi there, Dave. And the reason being is because I did not clear the terminal, and I actually don't know how to clear. I guess I can clear. Command K. So this would be, think of it as like in the old school days of typewriter. All right, so I'm going to now go into hello world. Hi there, Dave. And when I compile it, all right, we're good to go. It says no syntax errors. I'm going to go here and run main. Boom, done. Hi there, Dave. All right, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. I'm going to do one more thing. And this is just a very basic, very basic thing on output, system.out.print and system.out.print. If you've taken any program before, you probably know what's going to happen. But if we compile this, boom, right click, go to main, run. It's going to say, hello there, Dave. Hello, hi there, everyone. It's not really what I wanted. I wish that hi there, everyone would go on the next page. So what I'm going to do first is clear that. Here's what you need to know in Java. There's system.out.print, which prints on the line, and then the cursor stays on that line, so if it encounters another system.out.print, it prints exactly where the cursor left off, which is on that line. You can do system.out.print line, that's really print ln, and what will happen is now we'll output hi there Dave, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, and then we'll go to the next line, and so when it encounters system.out.print or print line, it will print on the next line. So let me compile that. Let me run that. And so you would use the print line if you want it to go to the next line when it's done outputting what you say. You want print if you want it to output on the same line. That's just something to keep in mind. So this is basically how to get started in Java with a very simple program. I will show you a tutorial on variables next. Stay tuned.